to Kindling. I'm Awe, your storyteller, and today we are traveling to Liberia, a beautiful country on the West African coast, surrounded by lush forests and bordered by the Atlantic Ocean. Now, modern-day Liberia was founded in the 1800s by formerly enslaved people returning from the Americas. But long before that, the land echoed with stories passed down from generation to generation amongst the different indigenous peoples, from the Kipele, the Bassa, and many other tribes that lived in the region. Storytelling for them has always been a way of entertaining, yes, but also passing down memory, giving warnings, and instilling wisdom. Now, our tale today comes from this lush landscape, from these deep forests, and it's a cautionary tale about a deer, a proud tree, and a foolish shrub, and of course the drum that still carries their voices. This is the story of the drum that never forgot. Let's hear it. Once, long ago, in the heart of the forest, a graceful deer made her home beside a beautiful great Dicot tree. Now, the ground beneath the tree was strange and different from anywhere else in the forest. It was smooth and bare and as clean as a newborn skin. Not one blade of grass, not one weed, just clean red earth. And on that earth, the deer, as she was walking one day, saw her footprints, each one as sharp as if it had been drawn in ink. The deer suddenly shivered and thought to herself, if a hunter sees these tracks, I am finished. And so, thinking quickly about what she could do to protect herself, she turned to the very tree that stood beside her and pleaded, "Friend, dear Dicot tree, please scatter your leaves on the ground and drop some bark. Help me, please. Hide my tracks, for a hunter may come and shoot me." But the Dicot tree only swayed in the wind and scoffed. Whether you live or die means nothing to me. Be gone, dear. Don't worry me with your problems. And so the poor deer bowed her head and walked away. Now, just nearby, the owe shrub, a little bush, had heard the conversation and rustled its leaves, chuckling. "You worry too much, dear," it said. "No hunter comes here. Don't be silly." But the deer only shook her head again. "Men eat animals," she said, "and they cut down trees. If they come for me, they will come for you too." And indeed it was that her words came to pass, for just a few days later, a hunter came by. He saw the hoof marks so clear on the smooth earth and knew that there was prey nearby, and so he stayed and watched the deer silently, learning her ways. Day after day, the hunter did nothing at first, but simply watched. Then on the third night, as the deer lay down to sleep underneath the moonlight gaze, he struck. The forest held its breath as he shot his arrow. And with that, the deer was gone. Well, the hunter then took his prize, butchered the deer, and took the meat and the skin back to his village and presented them to his chief as a gift. The chief, of course, welcomed him with joy. "What a fine gift," he said. "Sweet meat and fine, soft, tender skin. Let there be music and dancing in the village, and let us celebrate this great bounty." And now the hunter replied, "My chief, where I found this deer, there is a beautiful, strong Dicot tree. Its wood sings when struck. it would make a very, very fine drum. So be it, declared the chief. Cut it down. And so it was that the Dicot tree was felled to make the wood of the drum. And what became of the mischievous little owe shrub, the bush that giggled at the deer's distress? Well, when the woodcutters went to cut down the tree, they noticed the owe bush and thought to themselves, this sap would be very good. So they cut it down and drained its sticky resin to rub across the drum skin. And so it was that the villagers built their drum. First, they carved the base from the Dicot's strong wooden body. Then they stretched the soft deer skin across the top of the drum. And finally, they rubbed and polished the skin and the wood with the sticky sap from the owe shrub. Then they began to sing and dance and beat the drum. And when they did, something curious happened. The villagers were sure that they could hear voices in the rhythm. The sound of a deer crying, the sound of a tree scoffing, and the sound of a bush arguing. And their quarrel never stopped. Even now, they say, when the drums echo through Liberia's forests, some say they can still hear those sounds of regret and of a warning too. And that is where the story ended. And so, there ends the tale of the deer, the Dicot tree, and the owe shrub. And the moral? Well, that when someone offers a warning or asks you for help, take a moment and listen. The deer in this story clearly saw a danger coming, and she tried to protect herself and others. But the pride and the apathy of those around her sealed all of their fates. The tree thought it was above harm and cared only for its own survival and not that of anyone else. The bush mocked what it didn't understand and didn't take the threat seriously enough because it didn't see the danger coming. But in the end, the selfishness and short-sightedness of them all led to their final destruction. Now, this story reminds us of how deeply connected nature and community truly are. It also reminds us that when one is harmed, harm upon others will soon follow. As Martin Luther King Jr. famously said, an injustice to one is an injustice to all. It's a reminder that we are called upon to fight for justice, not only when it affects us directly, but for the good of the whole of society. This message is a very poignant one indeed, especially in the trying times that we live today. And so, with that message, I leave you again and remind you to join us again in the following week for more wisdom from African folktales. Until then, keep the fire burning.